Hello, and welcome. There are few things in this world as comforting as a hot cup of tea. It's a ritual, isn't it? That first warm sip in the morning that gently wakes you up. The soothing cup in the afternoon that offers a moment of quiet reflection. Or the calming herbal brew at night that helps you unwind from the day. For so many of us, tea is more than just a beverage, it's a companion. It's what we reach for when we need to feel centered, when we're feeling under the weather, or when we're sharing a quiet moment with a loved one. We choose our teas carefully for their health benefits, the antioxidants in green tea, the calming properties of chamomile, the robust flavor of a good black tea. We believe we're doing something fundamentally good for our bodies. But what if I told you that in our quest for wellness, many of us have been unknowingly introducing something entirely unwanted into that cherished ritual? What if the very bag holding those precious tea leaves was leaching billions of invisible, potentially harmful particles into every single cup? It's a shocking thought, I know. But today, we're going to gently pull back the curtain on this modern health concern. And most importantly, I will show you the simple, easy ways to ensure your daily cup of tea remains the pure, healthy, and comforting ritual it was always meant to be. This is exactly the kind of practical health knowledge we explore here together. If you believe in making small, powerful changes for a healthier life, I'd love for you to subscribe and join our community. And please, take a moment to share your favorite type of tea in the comments below. I'm always looking for new ones to try. Now let's talk about the tea bag itself. For decades, the standard was a simple, flat paper pouch, often with a string and a staple. But in recent years, you've likely noticed a change on the grocery store shelves. We started seeing these beautiful, pyramid-shaped tea bags. They're often described as silken or gourmet, and they promise a better infusion, allowing the tea leaves more room to unfurl and release their flavor. They look elegant, sophisticated, and frankly, healthier. The marketing is brilliant because it taps into our desire for quality. We see that delicate, mesh-like bag and we think, this must be better. It feels like an upgrade. The tragic irony is that for many of these brands, that premium-looking bag is not made of silk, nor is it made of paper. It's made of plastic. The two most common materials are food-grade nylon and polyethylene terephthalate, also known as PET. These are the same types of plastics used to make things like textiles and water bottles. Manufacturers chose them because they are strong, they can withstand boiling water without falling apart, and their porous structure is perfect for infusing tea. They solved an engineering problem: how to create a sturdier, more spacious tea bag. But in doing so, they created an entirely new and invisible health problem. When you pour boiling water over one of these plastic bags, the heat and water work together to degrade the material on a microscopic level. The plastic structure begins to shed, and those tiny fragments break off and flow directly into your mug. So, the very thing designed to look like a healthier, more luxurious choice, that fancy pyramid bag, is precisely where the concern lies. It's a classic case of appearances being deceiving, and it's happening in millions of kitchens every single day. Let's take a moment to understand what we're actually talking about here. The words microplastics and nanoplastics are being mentioned more and more in the news, but they can feel a bit abstract. What are they really? Let's make it simple. Imagine a beautiful sandy beach. You can see the individual grains of sand, right? A microplastic is a piece of plastic that is smaller than one of those grains of sand, typically less than 5 millimeters long. You could, if you looked very closely, still see the largest of them. They are everywhere in our environment, in the oceans, in the soil, and in the air. Now, imagine taking one of those tiny grains of sand and crushing it into 1,000 even smaller pieces. So small that they become an invisible dust. That's a nanoplastic. These particles are microscopic, completely invisible to the human eye. You can't see them, you can't taste them, and you can't feel them. And it's these nanoparticles, along with their slightly larger microplastic cousins, that are being released from plastic tea bags. A few years ago, researchers at McGill University in Canada decided to investigate this. What they found was truly staggering. They took several brands of these plastic-based pyramid tea bags, steeped them in hot water as you would at home, and then analyzed the water. They discovered that a single plastic tea bag, steeped at 95 degrees Celsius, just below boiling, released approximately 11.6 billion microplastics and 3.1 billion nanoplastics into 1 cup of tea. Let me say that again. Over 11 billion microplastics and 3 billion nanoplastics from one tea bag into 1 cup. When I first read that study, I was floored. The numbers are almost too large to comprehend. It's not a trace amount. It's a massive, invisible flood of plastic particles. This isn't about a chemical leaching from the plastic in the way we might worry about with some food containers. This is the plastic material itself physically breaking apart and ending up in your drink. It's a mechanical shedding process triggered by the simple act of adding hot water. And because we are doing this intentionally, in a beverage we consume for our health, it deserves our full attention. Naturally, the next question is, what does this mean for our health? This is where we need to be both cautious and clear. The full, long-term effects of ingesting micro and nanoplastics are still an active area of scientific research. We don't have all the answers yet, and anyone who tells you they do is not being entirely truthful. However, what we do know from early research gives us good reason to be mindful and proactive. Our bodies are incredibly resilient, but they are designed to process natural materials. When foreign, man-made particles enter our system, the body's primary defense mechanism kicks in, the immune system. The immune system may identify these tiny plastic particles as invaders, triggering an inflammatory response. Inflammation, in the short term, is a good thing. It's how your body heals a cut or fights off a virus. The problem arises when this response becomes chronic, a constant, low-grade state of alert. Many of the health challenges we face as we get older, from stiff and aching joints to concerns about heart health and cognitive function, are linked to chronic inflammation. It's like a constant, simmering fire inside the body that can disrupt normal processes and contribute to long-term wear and tear. So, while we can't say for certain that the plastics from a tea bag will cause a specific disease, we can say that adding a significant and unnecessary source of foreign particles to our bodies is likely not beneficial. We are essentially giving our immune systems another battle to fight, another stressor to manage day after day. Because nanoplastics are so incredibly small, there's also concern that they may be able to pass from the digestive tract into the bloodstream and travel to other parts of the body. Again, the research is ongoing, but the fundamental idea is one of common sense. It's what many toxicologists call the precautionary principle. When an activity raises potential threats of harm to human health, precautionary measures should be taken even if some cause and effect relationships are not fully established scientifically. In this case, the risk is easily avoidable. And when the solution is simple, accessible, and comes with no downsides, choosing the safer path just makes good sense. So how do we do that? How do we take back our tea ritual and ensure it's purely a force for good in our lives? The good news is, the solution is wonderfully simple. It starts with becoming a savvy shopper in the tea aisle. The first, and perhaps easiest, step is to simply choose better tea bags. Your mission is to find tea bags made of natural, plastic-free materials. The most common and safest alternative is good old-fashioned paper. Many trusted tea brands have either stuck with paper all along or have switched back in response to these health concerns. Look for tea bags that are rectangular or round and flat, not the pyramid shape. They should feel like paper to the touch, not like a slick, synthetic mesh. When you're looking at the box, search for key phrases. Words like plastic-free, biodegradable, and compostable are excellent indicators. Brands that are proud of their packaging will often state it clearly. They might say their bags are made from abaca hemp or unbleached paper. Speaking of which, choosing unbleached paper is another small but meaningful upgrade. The bleaching process for paper can involve chemicals like chlorine, and while the amounts left on a tea bag are tiny, why not avoid them altogether if you can? An unbleached paper bag will have a slightly beige, more natural look to it. You might also see some bags that are sealed with a crimping method or a simple fold, which is ideal. Others may use a string and a small staple, which is generally fine. The staple itself isn't steeping in your tea. What you want to avoid are bags that appear to be sealed with a heat sealing method, as this often involves a polypropylene sealant, which is, again, a type of plastic. If you're unsure about your favorite brand, a quick visit to their website can often provide the answer. Look for a frequently asked questions or sustainability page. A transparent company will tell you exactly what their bags are made of. This small bit of detective work can give you complete peace of mind. Now, if you want to take your tea experience to the next level, for flavor, for your health, and for the environment, there is an even better option. It's the way people enjoyed tea for centuries before the tea bag was even invented. I'm talking about rediscovering the simple joy of loose-leaf tea. This approach completely eliminates the bag from the equation. There is no question about what it's made of, no worries about plastics, glues, or bleaches. It is, quite simply, the purest way to drink tea. All you have are the tea leaves themselves. For many, the idea of loose-leaf tea can seem fussy or complicated, but I promise you, it is incredibly easy. All you need is a simple tool called a tea infuser. Tea infusers come in many shapes and sizes. There's the classic tea ball, a little metal sphere that you spoon the tea into and clasp shut. There are basket infusers, which are little mesh cups that sit perfectly in your mug, giving the leaves plenty of room to expand and release their flavor. You can even get a teapot that has a built-in strainer in the spout or a removable basket. These tools are not expensive. A perfectly good one can be found for just a few dollars at most grocery stores or online, and it will last you for years. The ritual itself becomes a beautiful, mindful moment. Instead of tearing open a paper packet, you're opening a tin and taking in the rich aroma of the dry leaves. You spoon the tea into your infuser, pour the hot water over it, and watch as the leaves begin to dance and unfurl, slowly painting the water with their color and essence. It transforms the act of making tea from a convenience into a small, intentional ceremony. And let's talk about the benefits beyond avoiding plastic. Loose-leaf tea is almost always higher quality than the tea found in bags, which often contain smaller, broken pieces called dust and fannings. Whole leaves provide a more nuanced, complex, and smooth flavor. Furthermore, loose-leaf tea is often more economical. While the initial purchase of a tin might seem more expensive than a box of tea bags, the price per cup is usually significantly lower. You are paying for pure tea, not for the packaging, processing, and marketing that goes into every single tea bag. So what have we learned today? We've learned that a ritual we hold dear, one we turn to for comfort and health, might be hiding an unwelcome guest. We've discovered that those fancy, pyramid-shaped tea bags are often made of plastic that sheds billions of microscopic particles into our cup when we add hot water. And while the science on the long-term health effects is still developing, we know that adding a heavy, unnecessary load of foreign material to our bodies is a risk we don't need to take, especially when avoiding it is so incredibly simple. This knowledge isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to empower you. You now hold the power to make a better choice. The power to turn your tea ritual into an act of true self-care. It's about making a small shift, looking for paper tea bags that are proudly plastic-free, or embracing the richer, more flavorful world of loose-leaf tea. This is a perfect example of how a little bit of information can lead to a meaningful improvement in our daily lives. It's not about restriction. It's about making a conscious, positive upgrade. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps others find this important message. And be sure to share it with a friend or family member who loves their daily cup of tea as much as you do. If you haven't already, I invite you once more to subscribe and join our wonderful community. We're all here to learn and support one another on our journey to a healthier, more vibrant life. Until next time, stay well and take good care.